Okay. What's that saying? Something off. What is that? So, this is video 2 of the new year. I've been asked recently in day to day what it's actually like when I have a heart thing. And I thought I'd make a quick video about it so that if anyone else is experiencing these things, you're definitely not on your own. It's been almost a month to the day that I had my heart monitor inserted, or cardiac loop, I believe it's called. And so in that month, I've just been getting on with it. And I have used it a few times. But first things first, heart thing. So I call it a heart thing, or a weird heart thing. This is slightly topical in the fact that I had one last night. And I call it a heart thing because I don't really know what to call it. I don't know what to call it. I know that I believe it's called ectopic beats, which is, as far as I'm aware, that's what I have. And that is when the heart skips a beat, which sounds very romantic. Okay, the heart misses a beat. It stops for longer than it should do between beats. Like, it stops for a second and then you're like, oh, my heart has stopped. And then it does a really big beat. And it's the sort of, like in a film when you have that moment and you're like, because it really does move you. Your entire body feels this big beat, and you're it kind of reminds me of Goku when he turns into the ape monster thing in the full moon, but that's just my geekiness coming out there. I live such a sad life. Yeah, so it does really just go boom, and its whole thing comes over you. And actually it can that is sort of one of the first points in which I realised, oh shit, I'm having a heart thing. Usually it's not painful, but it does, it freaks you out because your body just goes ugh, like that. It's just freaky. And that might happen a few times, and then it dissipates, and you can mostly go about your business afterwards. It does freak you out a bit. So you can be freaked for a certain period of time afterwards, just thinking like, am I going to die? Am I okay? Most of the time it's absolutely fine. You know, I'm not gonna die, and you just gotta keep repeating that you're not gonna die. It's just your heart doing strange things. Anyway, ectopic beats are apparently relatively common, and pretty common among women, women in their early 20s. So there you go, that's something to look forward to. It's kind of like your heart having a moment and then trying to catch up with itself, which we all need. Another thing that does happen is I have a very fast heartbeat occasionally, and not only is it fast, it's very shallow. So sometimes my heart is racing, but it's not sort of beating fully. You obviously have your 4 parts of your heart, and it's not sort of properly expanding and then pushing everything back out again, or doing whatever it is that the heart does. I'm not a cardiologist, obviously, but it's very fast and very shallow, and this is the type of thing where I have actually collapsed from this. Unfortunately, at my previous Christmas do, not the Christmas do just gone, but the one before, and I just met my manager's wife, who incidentally has just had a heart monitor put in, and I was just like, oh hey, how are you? Just had this big, had a coughing fit, and then I was coughing. I remember I was coughing. I had Prosecco. I kept the Prosecco like clutching it, and I was coughing and suddenly I couldn't breathe, and my heart was beating really fast but really shallow, and then I was on the floor. That was one of the evenings that I got told off for not calling an ambulance by my wonderful friend Fiona, but also by the doctors. Oh, and Gareth. Gareth said that I was in trouble as well. So this sort of thing doesn't seem to have particular triggers. It just has occasionally happened. I can't really see a correlation between, you know, certain things that I'm doing and this happening, which is frustrating. But, you know, hey, that's why it's getting monitored. We're seeing what's going on. And also something that does happen as well is feeling like a tightness in the chest. Tightness and accompanied with our best friend, pain. So, okay, I'm going to say occasionally, but that's because I don't really want to think about how often. Yeah, occasionally I have had pain, and sometimes that pain has been 20 minutes of pain and then it's gone away again, whereas sometimes it's been hours of pain, and sometimes intermittently over several days, which is not the best because it's worrying. It's worrying. I can't deny that, but it is worrying, and I'm being monitored for it. So there we go. That's the main thing. I'm being monitored for it. Yes, it's worrying. Strangely enough, I don't believe that when my heart is running really fast, I have pain. It's just like, oh, I've got chest pain. And it sits there. And you're like, well, what do I do with this? Because, you know, sometimes I can feel really weird during it, and sometimes I feel bodily fine, other than the fact that, you know, my heart is hurting, which is not ideally what it's supposed to do. Anyway, that's some of the things that I do experience during a weird heart thing. But just to give anyone a bit of an idea, if any of those things happen to you, some of them are common, some of them are less common. If any of the things do happen to you, just go to the doctor. Just go to the doctor. That'll be something to do. That's something that I avoided for years, and that did not serve me well. So, more importantly, happy times is how I'm combating this. And by combating, I mean in a very sort of peaceful way. So what I've been given is a few gadgets, and I do love my gadgets. So I have what I have named a clicker, and said clicker is something that I use whenever my heart is going weird. I have this. Ooh. That took forever to focus. Jeez. Anyway, so I have this. This is a little doohickey that I have to keep on me all the time, and I have to keep it, you know, by my bed, in my bag. I have to have it in the vicinity that I am, and that sounds very sort of dramatic, but the lady like kind of pinned me down and went, you need to have this on you all the time. Basically, if my heart goes funny, then I have to push this clicker. So what happens is you push this button, and then you get a light on here, and you have to put it on the area of where my heart monitor is, and then you wait until there's a little noise, and there's a green light that comes on. Once the noise has happened, that means that it has rewound the recording in my heart monitor for the last 5 minutes. So 5 minutes before I push the button, and then it's also going to be recording for 2.5 minutes after I've pushed the button. So that essentially means in all the time that you're scrabbling about thinking, oh crap, my heart's going weird, I need to get this thing, it's actually recording all that time, and it's just actually able to capture those readings. So the cardiac loop itself is constantly recording, and it has a it has a battery life of 3 years, so potentially, you know, you could have one of these for 3 years. And so it's constantly recording, but then it does sort of like forget unless you push your clicker and do the thing. So once it's got a reading, that's sort of stored within your heart monitor. Excellent. Now it needs to actually get somewhere. It can't just sit there on this little thing in you. It needs to actually go somewhere. So what I have for that is another doohickey, slightly larger one, but that's okay. So I have this thing. Ooh. It looks like a sort of 90s telephone, which I rather enjoy. Like early 90s, maybe late 80s telephone. I really enjoy that. This is made by the same people who made my clicker. So essentially what it is a sort of sendy device, technical term. So you have this removable part, and it is almost like a receiver. And you've just seen that the screen lights up. So what you've got on there, which is difficult to see, is you have, it looks like a sort of broadcast, God, what are those things called? I have a degree. It looks like a telecommunications tower. Let's go with that one. Okay, and it has some lines on it as if it is looking like a mobile network, and that is essentially what it is. So this will have a light on it. When you push the button, you have to find your heart monitor and sort of, it looks like you're rubbing like a mouse on your breast, which is a bit strange, but there we are, the sacrifices that we must make. So you have to find your heart monitor, and then it makes a noise, and then your little screen shows you that it is working its magic, and you have a little loading bar there to tell you that it is it's doing its thing, and essentially it makes a wonderful little chirpy noise, which is slightly not in keeping with the situation, but there we are. A lovely chirpy little noise to say that what it's done is it has sent the details, the actual reading of your heart, to the cardiology department at the hospital via a mobile network. So I'm very impressed with that. I like my little gadgets, and granted this is sort of a medical gadget as opposed to anything fun, but still, it's a gadget. I appreciate a good gadget. In the GDPR world, there was a form to sign just to sort of say a declaration to say, by the way, we are going to use your personal data for this analysis, but then, you know, everything's going to be destroyed. They destroy this, they destroy the other doohickey, and she had, this lady had to like properly run through with me the entire process, and say, you know, how safe my personal data was. I was just kind of thinking, okay, so this is my personal data as in my heart recording, my heart reading. The point of which is that, you know, the more people actually review this, the more people look at it, the better, presumably. So I want my heart rate to be out there. Like if somebody can tell me what is wrong, if someone can give me any kind of diagnosis, then that's great. Hey, put it on the internet for all I care. Just go for it, because the more people look at it, the better. So I find that quite hilarious. Go crazy, make it into a poster, I don't know, whatever. I'm happy with that, it's fine. But yeah, for GDPR, she had to run through this whole thing with me. Tina in cardiology. Hey Tina, she's never watching this. What happens with my heart? Sorted. My heart doohickeys? Sorted. I've shown everybody how to use it, and it sounds all very official and everything, but it's really not. It's just essentially, even if I'm flapping around on the floor, like if I'm having a real big heart issue, then it needs to be recorded. I've had countless ECGs over the years, and it's always like, no, your heart is fine, like, oh no, it showed normal, or like, or you don't even hear from the doctor, or you don't even hear any updates or anything like that because it's normal. And the whole point of this is that over a long period of time I can now choose when to have an ECG because I have something surgically inserted into me which will automatically do an ECG. Fun times. But taking it into my own hands, or whatever I'm trying to say, yeah, awesome. So I now have to drive to Warwickshire, so that's got to happen. But yeah, that's a few things about my heart. Awesome, awesome. Anyway, hopefully that clears up what occasionally happens with my heart, and my little gadgetry bits and pieces, all fun and games. If anyone else has any heart grumbles or anything like that, yeah, just, yes, it's god damn scary. God damn scary. But it's the only way that things are going to get done, by having something like this. And yeah, there's always a way forward, even if you have to have your own little sort of bit of gadgetry in the house. Yeah, go see your doctors, people. I say people, there's like 2 people that will watch this, but anyway, go see your doctors. And you might be given like thousands of pounds worth of bits, which is awesome. Hope I don't break it. Anyway, I'm out.